Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome in to today's Gamma Mastery Workshop, where we're going to be pairing Gamma with Gemini for a powerful combo of the two platforms. See how we can use them together to do all sorts of incredible stuff with AI. Good to see everybody here this fine Tuesday. How's everyone doing? Good to see you, Mark, Saucin, Mohammed, William, Russell. Good to see everybody. Before we kick things off here, I'm curious for those of you here that have been following along with our Gamma series so far, how has Gamma been going for you since the start of the series? Any breakthroughs, any wins, or any aha moments from the past 3 weeks in getting your Gamma account set up and getting content, presentations, that sort of thing going? Any wins out there before we dive into things today?
I've been using Gamma since you first introduced it, I think almost a year ago. And I use it for website pages, presentations, decks, slide decks, sales presentations. It's a fantastic program. It saves me a phenomenal amount of time. Yeah, it's a great tool. I'd like to learn how to use it better. And I've been using a lot of Gemini lately. Now that it's 3.0 and we have that Nano Banana, it's generating a lot of images for me. I even tried some videos. I'd like to know how to string those videos together. They're only 8-second clips at this point in time, but I'd like to be able to figure out how to put them all into one complete video, those multiple 8-second clips.
Well, are you using any video editing software tools right now?
No, I'm not.
All right, cool. We can touch on that if I don't get to it in the context of today. Just if you want to just drop a note in the chat so I can keep an eye on it. I
Sure.
do have a workflow that I use Descript to do to put the video clips together and edit it on that front. But there's probably a whole video just for that that we could get into maybe in a
Yeah.
future date. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I've been
Mark.
I
using,
used to use Descript, but since the upgrade, now I'm getting a different screen. I'm having a hard time adjusting to the technology. Maybe if you go over it one day, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah, we'll see where today takes us when we dive into things. Thank you for sharing, Mark. Any other wins, Sauce, and any wins on your end?
I used to use Gamma very primitively, just put in something and generate presentations for my lessons and my teaching. But I figured out how to change the theme because I used to start over every time I wanted to change something. I knew how to edit now. To me, it's a big win because I created some social presentations to attempt to post on TikTok or something, and I didn't like it, and I couldn't go back to the regular presentation. But after watching the instructions, to me, it's a big win because I don't have to go again and create something new.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great win to highlight as well for anyone that's jumping into this series right now that hasn't gone through the foundation of setting up a brand style guide in Gamma. Is where I'd recommend everybody starting if you're going to start using Gamma for content to just spend a little extra time going through setting up your brand style guide, your own template with your own brand colors and your own vibe so that you don't have to recreate it every single time. It's a massive time saver down the road and doesn't take too long to get set up. The first video in the series covers that entire process inside of an hour. And we'll get things kicked off here in just a moment. But any other wins from anyone else here tuning in with us live? Assad, good to see you. Just saw you join in. Any other wins before we kick things off? Or any burning questions that you'd love to see covered today in terms of Gemini and Gamma? This will be our first of this kind of pairing of Gamma with another tool in the series. And so I think setting the context for this specific workshop when we're walking through the generation of any sort of content, any sort of use inside of Gemini, you're going to see some parallels to maybe how you can apply the same sort of methodology or the same workflow, the same way you can prompt Gemini and see how that translates to other tools like ChatGPT or Claude from Anthropic. Now, Google, I think, has been creating a lot of value from the tools that they've been releasing over the past year or so. And with the release of Gemini 3 lately, been seeing a lot of big time improvements, but also where Gamma is fitting into this mix, integrating certain pieces of Google's like Nano Banana, for example, so you can generate images with Nano Banana Pro directly inside of Gamma, which is super powerful. And so I want to walk through and just dive into it to kick things off today. Make sure my proper screen is pulled up. How we can go about using some of the core features inside of Gemini that maybe if you were seeing some of these tools released a year ago, you may have had to go to multiple places like the VO3 platform or to generate videos or images, things of that nature. But one thing that's I was generating right before we hopped on this call that is a cool example of how you can use Gemini when you're inside the Gemini workspace. It looks very similar to how you would be set up with a ChatGPT workspace. You have your chat screen right here in the middle. You have expanding a menu that you can create access your different threads, and you can even create these things called gems, which I haven't gone super deep into gems, but my understanding is gems are Google's Gemini's version of what like a custom GPT is inside of ChatGPT. So I expect us to go a little bit deeper onto creating gems inside of this workshop series. But when you're creating inside of Gemini specifically, there's a few prompts that can get you started that I think are just good to understand what this tool can do because it can seem like a blank canvas. It can do anything. What can I even get with started with creating? One, it can create images. If you've seen anything about Google's Nano Banana, it is a powerful AI video generation tool that can also edit images, and I found it to be particularly useful in editing an image while keeping the rest of the image intact and then adding new things into an image or removing certain things from an image. But also, obviously, you can write, create, brainstorm research, which Google is a great tool for doing things like deep research. But you can also create videos directly inside of Gemini. And so if you're curious to look at how can I use Gemini to create like a simple 3 to 8 second video, before we hopped on this call, I just took a quick thumbnail example. We're building out some thumbnails for my side hustle game company, which I downloaded from Gamma. I just took a thumbnail and I said, hey, Gemini, make a 3 second video from this side hustle thumbnail animated. It took a minute or two and then it came out with this. Can you guys hear that? The sound that I just played? Okay, I'm gonna see if I can share it with my sound because that's one of the cool things that I found with VO3 and part of Google's AI suite. That again, you can access it now directly inside of Gemini, which is why I'm showing this. How do I show my screen? Share sound. It actually creates sound with it too. And so just to give you some inspiration for what's possible, this was an image that I took from Unsplash for the background. So like a free image that you can get from Unsplash, literally like millions of images on there or something like that. I just added my logo and I said, create an intro. So cool. Like now I can have a quick little intro. I could probably prompt it with more of the type of sound that I wanted, and I could play around with this a little bit more. But now if I said, hey, okay, that's cool, Google. Let me see, chat. Let me see if I can select the create images. Now I started with the seed image and I say, okay, cool. Can you create another image for me based on the image that I provided that is just optimized for a 300 by 300 image style, but keep everything else the exact same. And so what I've done here is I've given it the initial image for context. I had it create a video based on that image, but now I'm just asking it to keep everything else in this image intact, but just resize it for me in a specific size and style. So did it do it? Doesn't look like it did it exactly the way I want it to. So a little bit of a thumbs down there for Gemini in this case. You didn't quite get to where I wanted you to do on that front, but maybe it was because I didn't give it as clear enough instructions, or maybe I could prompt it with some other stuff. And so I'm going to show through another like way that I would approach this if I wanted to create maybe some additional content based on like using this thread and like this context inside of Gemini. Let's say I'm going to prompt it again. I'm going to create an event for New Year's Eve that's going to be a private party where we're going to play the side hustle game and raise a bunch of money for a charity event. Can you create an image that goes along with this event and then a description of this image that we can eventually turn into a presentation? So I want to have multiple slides that we can create that talk about the event and make it super exciting for people to join. And going back to how we as humans are operating LLMs and interacting with these tools in a conversational way, this is a very similar approach to how I might approach creating something with Claude or ChatGPT. But I know that I'm using Nano Banana here. And Nano Banana is really good at creating images directly with inside these chats. And one thing I found is that the images, the words, the styles, that sort of thing, compared to a year or two ago, right? Like you guys remember AI images when you first came out with it? It was like write the word like boring and it would be BOOXRINY. And it's like that, it looks like alien speak. Well, like nowadays, it's pretty on point with creating images in that size. So while it kept it in the same style of the image, you can see New Year's Eve, side hustle smash, raise a glass, raise some cash, play for a cause. I'm just coming up with this kind of on the fly right now. And I can see that it's still in that thumbnail style, which isn't a problem, but I could see raising funds for like charity name. And now if I just for an image, like how to modify images inside of Nano Banana, because I've done this with other images that I've created in Canva or generated with other models and used Nano Banana to optimize the image. You could say, this looks really good. In the right-hand side, when you have the charity name section on the screen, can you change the charity name for Hustle for Kids or something like that? Like raising money for the hustle for a cause. Let's say that sounds hustle for a cause. Okay. And so, like, how this should work with how it's worked in the past for me is keep everything else in this image the same, but just update that one particular section. So now we can look at these kind of top to bottom, like they're pretty much the exact same image. You can see like nothing else was really changed at all in any one of these images, but hustle for a cause. So not perfect, but you can see like how specific it was with editing that one section of text. So again, like conversationally providing prompts, editing the image, something you can do directly inside of Gemini as a thread to edit some images. But now let's say we like, okay, this is good enough, but I actually just want you to optimize those words to only say hustle for a cause to make sure that it says exactly that text. And then I want you to produce that image for me, and then we'll create the rest of the content for the marketing material. So it's loading Nano Banana again. And my bet is that once I have an image right here, I can just jump right back into VO3 and say, hey, animate this image, have everyone raise their glasses up and present a toast. And then that could be like the introduction slide for a video if we were to put something like that. It's missing the mark right now when it comes to that, which again, it's all AI, generative AI can make mistakes, double check it, make sure that it's actually producing the things that you want. But we're going to take this and we're just going to keep rolling with it. We're going to say create a video for this image. Let's see. Is it going to let me do that? Start a new chat. No, I don't want to start a new chat. That's weird. Can you use VO3 now to create an animated image of this where everybody at the table is raising their glasses up? So interestingly, whenever I went to go and select the actual tool that I wanted to use, it was trying to force me into a new chat. But when I just spoke it and I wanted it to do this, it's going through the process. And like some of this stuff is totally new to me. This is the first time I'm trying this particular workflow inside of Gemini, for example, to swap between these two tools because I didn't realize that I could use VO3 directly inside of Gemini until just before this call. It may have been something that was available out there, but key takeaway for anyone watching this is these tools change constantly. And like how powerful Nano Banana is today is going to change in several weeks from now. And how good the image generation is, how good the video generation is, and that sort of thing. It's going to take a minute or two to create this type of video. But what was the question that we had earlier? Was it Mark about using like these types of clips and then stringing them together to create like other videos from it? Was that the idea that you were looking for? You can create these 8-second clips, but how do you take those and put them together in another, like a fully fleshed out type of thing? Okay.
A quick question, Darby.
Yep.
If you take any of these photos, stock photos that have copyright, and you ask it to do a bit of a change on the image, once it has been changed, but more or less remains the same, is it still covered by copyright?
It's a great question that I'll preface with stating that I'm not a lawyer. I don't act like try to play one on the internet.
And it's
I think that we need to go find an AI lawyer GPT to ask this question. No, I'm not entirely sure, but I would say if you're going to be using images and modifying them and then creating your own stuff with it, it would probably make sense to check the copyright of those images and maybe consult with a lawyer if you're going to be doing anything significant with those images. The reason I mentioned Unsplash here was because these are all like royalty free, like completely like free images off of
yeah,
Unsplash.
but it's just that what I was seeing doing, and I thought like it might give you something a bit different, the same idea but a bit different. I said that's brilliant. Like
Yeah.
this way, I can skip copyright on some of the pretty images, and I cannot be claimed that I used. But then, yeah, you can always say that it was modified with AI or whatever. I'll have to check with a lawyer.
Yeah, I think that there's probably some workarounds here, like for taking like reference images and then building like your own AI versions based on those, but worth checking into if it's of any sort of concern. Let me see this because I think you guys can still hear my video. This is now just an 8-second clip. So, like different intro sound, it actually skipped the image that I wanted it to create the video on, and then it went back to the original one. And so, what I think is happening here is that Gemini was just like referencing this image for the main thing and not really listening to what I really wanted it to do. And so, just for one last example here before we move on to creating a presentation of some sort in Gamma based on this, I'm just going to rerun it through this prompted context and then walk through what I'm going to do as part of the next steps in the creative process for creating a full presentation about this. Again, with context that I don't want to spend a bunch of time just like prompting and reprompting outside of this last one. I do want to see what it can do. Some of this is just like trial and error and test it and see how we can push AI to do what we want it to do in this case. Maybe it didn't get the hint. But taking the concept, we'll see how it ends up here. Taking the concept and then breaking that concept down of, okay, we have an introduction slide. We've got the concept for this like New Year's Eve party that we're going to be putting on. And then we need to create a few slides that are going to talk through like what people are going to experience at this event. What are the different things that they're going to get out of this event? And this event could be like in your own imagination, in your own world, with how you're going to be using these tools. This event could be a private workshop. This could be a class that you're teaching because you teach AI at a college or a university. This could be a training presentation that you're walking people through. It could be like anything. Think through your exact use cases and what are some things that are most relevant to you. But the fundamentals of working with a tool like Gemini as a large language model, creating images that will be like reference points to build additional slides or prompts based off of, and creating outlines and creative briefs that we can then take into a tool like Gamma will influence, like everything that we're doing right now is directly going to influence the quality of the content that Gamma is going to ultimately produce for us. And then from the content that we produce, if we have time today, I'll walk through a very quick workflow for how you could take that content and a series of slides that we present in Gamma and then move that into a tool like Descript, where you can start to edit and clip these slides together. You could also use a number of other video editing tools and things like that to get the process going right there. Again, I see like a lot of these pieces as like sections inside of the workflow when it comes to, oh, I want to create a 30-second trailer that just totally shocks and stuns my audience and makes them want to learn more and sign up for this event. Okay, that's going to cost you $10,000. Or it's going to cost you in 2 weeks or 3 weeks of lead time and prep and doing all these things in another world. Or we can take another version of that and use AI as the way that we're leveraging in that. Okay, so this one is done. It looks like it did this the right way. So I'm going to readjust my screen, share the sound. Let's see.
Happy New Year, everyone! Cheers!
All right, cool. So now we're ready for a real side hustle New Year charity bash. So cool. Now I'm feeling like a little more excited about where we can go here. Like I'm starting to see some of this direction. Don't forget who's operating these AI tools. It's you, it's the operator, it's the human behind the prompts, behind the desk, behind the screen that's actually instructing and directing it where we want to go next. And so, where do I want this process to end? What's the vision that I have that I want these tools to help me with bringing to life? I'm going to talk through exactly how I've been doing this to create these sort of presentations with Gamma from inside of LLMs. And this is the first time I'm doing this process here inside of Gemini specifically. I've been using Claude heavily for this before. And so I'm going to be interested to see how it produces stuff for this. And by the way, I'm using a tool called Whisperflow, which I use all the time nowadays. It's not a sponsored thing by them. I just, for voice dictation, it's super effective and really on point for getting words out and actually capturing them and not making a bunch of misspellings. So I'm going to say, okay, this is great. Now what we want to do is create the creative brief for a presentation that we're going to put together that tells people about this New Year's Eve Side Hustle Smash event. It's going to be a charity, a fundraiser, have some fun, raise some glass, raise some cash. We're going to be raising funds for a cause that's going to benefit youth and entrepreneurship in the city of Austin. We're going to be inviting a lot of entrepreneurs and founders, investors, all to have fun and just, have a lot of fun and hopefully raise a lot of money for this cause. And it's going to happen on New Year's Eve this year, 2025, which is December 31st. It's going to go from 6 to past midnight. And what we want to do is create a 10-page slide deck outline that talks about who this is for, what we're going to be doing, why this cause matters, that tickets are invitation only, and you're getting this presentation because we wanted to invite you to the event and leave with a QR code that they can scan to go and purchase their ticket to be part of the event, talk about the dress code. And inside of these prompts, what I want you to do is for each slide, I want you to create a complimentary description for what that slide is going to be that locks it in with the entire theme of what this event is going to be, like what's going to be happening at this event. And so from the very start, we need to have a prompt that's going to be a custom art style guide that we're going to use that keeps the theme and the custom style in line with this image and presentation. So it's classy, it's fun, it's going to be a blast, and it's going to be a great event. So I need you to create all that content right now. Go ahead and execute it. See, while it's doing that, I saw a comment come in through. Cool. So now we can see here in this event. So I'm giving it my prompt. It took all of that prompt from a voice prompt. I was thinking through it. Networking, fun, philanthropy, and New Year's Eve is a fantastic idea. Create a brief, 10 slide deck outline. Just kind of reiterating back what I just gave it. So I know that it's like following on track with what we want to create. And then it's going to create that presentation style guide. And so the reason I'm starting with this here, and then I'm going to pair this with Gamma, is because inside of Gamma, when we get to the slide deck presentation, you can give it a way to produce custom art in a style guide. And I think we'll have enough time to do a couple different examples of how to do this because I have access to Gamma Studio right now, which is something that some of you may or may not have access to as well if you have a pro plan or above. But it'll use these types of style guides and the prompt and images in a bit of a more informed way to create the types of images we're looking for. So we have the 10 slide deck outline, slide 2, why you're here, slide 3, when and where, slide 4, main event, the cause, hustle for a cause, entrepreneurs, investors, the vibe, slides, call to action, thank you, and contact us. So this is great. This is great. Can you give me a specific custom AI style guide art prompt that will match the vibe to keep this consistent across every single slide? And I want this to just be like locked in first before I start to go. It's loading Nano Banana AI art style guide prompt. I wonder if it took this instruction as a way to create like an image for it. If it is, so I'm just going to say, no, I just want the words. So it just kind of built out a bunch of slides with this, which by itself isn't like a bad like way to go. It's just not as dialed in as I think I want it to be, but it's doing its best. So I'm going to say, no, I just want the words. No, not Nano Banana. Again, this is AI being AI. It may be assuming a little bit too much. It may be like on this track, oh, I'm going to go and do this for you. And I'm like, whoa, it's not what I wanted at all. I need to dial it back a little bit. And maybe it's just going to give me some trouble here. So it's not really being too helpful right now, Gemini, but we're not going to let that slow us down. I think we've got a lot of what we're doing here already built out. At the end of the day, this is what I'm looking for at the like for right here. We just went through, to recap, giving a kind of a seed image, city of Austin. Here's the brand logo. Here's the vibe. Oh, hey, I want to create an event, right? So give me like an image that's going to be based on this event. So we did that. We have an intro now, and then we have a little like
Happy
a
New Year,
teaser.
everyone.
Happy New Year. VO3 is actually including sound. So I'm like, all right, we're on to a good start for creating some of the initial marketing material for this event. And now we have a full creator brief with a around explanation of every single slide that we're going to be creating. And so there's two ways that I'm going to go about demonstrating this inside of Gamma for taking what we have right here and then creating a full presentation strictly based off of it. But we're also going to be using Nano Banana to produce these images. Okay. So we're going to Gamma, but we're still going to be using Google Gemini Nano Banana Pro inside of Gamma. So I'm going to tab over real quick to my Gamma account. I'm going to go to my side hustle folder. I'm going to create new. And from here, the two that I'm going to share is one is going to be pasting in text as a way to start and create one of these. And then I'm going to demonstrate the studio, which once I do that, you'll see the difference in what Studio produces versus the regular paste in text. But if I go to paste in text, I'm going to select presentation first and foremost, because that's what I want to create. Then I'm going to come back to this 10 slide deck creation. I'm going to copy all of these right here. I'm going to paste them directly into my Gamma. I'm going to say preserve this exact text and then configure my prompt. So now Gamma is going to take the text that I gave it here and it's going to move it into the prompt editor. And now it's also split the cards up, which is super handy because now it's card by card and each one of these is an individual card, right? So I can either preserve it or I could generate it. And I'm actually going to select generate in this case because what I find, and you can experiment with this, right? You can test it, you can run it, and then you can bring it back, run it again to see how it does. But this itself is a much more structured starter prompt that we spent time putting together with Gemini that now will feed Gamma's AI as well. Well, it will actually use that to generate it. I don't like I don't think I need super detailed amounts of text here, so I'm going to make it far more concise. You can see it highlighted the who am I writing this for? Influential Austin-based founders, investors, entrepreneurs invited to this event. Energetic, polished, celebratory. That's cool. And now I've got my theme, taking it back to the beginning of this call. We're talking about themes and starting your brand style guide. I don't need to go and recreate this theme. I don't need to start anything from scratch. I've already got my side hustle theme locked in. And then I'm selecting that theme and then I'm saying, okay, image source is what I want to do. Image, AI images, Nano Banana Flash, and then you have Nano Banana Pro. There is a big difference here. Nano Banana Pro just recently got released from inside of Gamma's suite. And you really need to pay attention to the credits per image right here. It's saying it's 10 credits per image right now, where they're slashing out the 70 credits per image, which depending on what plan you're on in Gamma, if you get like 4,000 credits a month, every image is going to be between like 10 to 70, depending on when you're using this. So this may not always be slashed out to this price, right? But they're rolling it out, wanting people to test it. So we're going to be using the pro version of that. And you can see the cost of different credits. So I'm just saying be aware of that because it can be very easy to burn through a ton of credits. If you're getting excited generating a ton of these and you're like, why did I just run out of credits? It may have been because you were selecting a model that used significantly more credits as opposed to some of these other tools are 3 credits per image, for example. Imagen's 2 credits per image. The points for credits do regenerate each month. So like I ran out of all of my credits during the Gamma API contest a week ago. And then over Saturday, my Gamma monthly membership renewed. And so I got replenished with a bunch of new credits. I could have upgraded to get more credits, but it was only like a day in between. So I didn't worry about it. But last thing here before we go ahead and generate is we have image source, Nano Banana Pro, but I want to put the finishing touches on this to add more of the style guide down here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy this style guide. I'm going to paste that here to the custom art style. And let's do it. Let's see what we get, right? So this is going to be the first generation. We've got our 10 slides locked in. We have Nano Banana Pro as the image generator. And we're using the template that I've already spent the time to set up. And so we're using Gamma's traditional generator right here, which I'm just going to let it flow. And now we're going to have the starting point of what could be a very solid presentation for inviting people specifically to this event that we could walk people through, do like a 2 or 3 minute Loom video or 1 minute even, and invite people to this event or something along those lines. The workflow here can be applied to generating any sort of presentation or style, right? It just depends on what you're outlining, how you're providing that context in advance. So we're already on image number 7. Okay, that's cool. Dress code. This probably won't actually become a thing this New Year's because I've already got tickets to another New Year's event. But now I want to cancel those tickets and put this event on. Sounds like a lot of fun. Maybe a charity fundraiser ball type of thing could be something in the works for future hustle for a cause. So we see here, I didn't give it my company name. I didn't give it event email or phone number. So like, how would it know that? And so it gave it these placeholders here, right? But I could easily modify this now. I'm not going to give you guys my real phone number. Not here when this is going on YouTube, but like you can see, yeah. So we got cool side hustle, New Year's Eve smash, raise a glass, raise some cash, play for a cause. Boom, we got an intro slide. Cool. We got innovation to celebrate right here. It's got all the details, location at the venue. It'd be like secret until your ticket is confirmed. We've got another slide. And so this is not what the game looks like when we're playing it. And so I may want to update this image. I may want to take this image in a Nano Banana and say, hey, let's take this. Here's another thing. Like there's definitely more time that I would spend before like taking this to like a final piece where I'd go start inviting a bunch of people to it. Maybe an hour more would get the rest of these images locked in. The purpose, it's cool. Meet founders, connect with investors. Like overall, like it's outlaid all the context here inside of a 10-page presentation, like exactly how I wanted it to start in this case. So for me, Gamma did its job here very well for getting this first version of this generated. And now I can edit it, I can modify it, but I didn't have to spend all the time organizing, getting all of these slides up together. And now, for those of you, if you're ready, like once you're in this portion, if you're good with this being the final output, you could say, no, what I would say is if you wanted to start editing it, you could either go in and start to edit it, modify things, change colors, do edit to your heart's desire to get it to a final piece. You can also, directing your attention to the upper right-hand corner, go to agent mode. And now you can start to work with Gamma's agent to give it really specific instructions. Like, I want you to highlight the 2026 in this first slide in our on-brand green color, and then highlight the word fun, finance, and philanthropy also in that green color. And I'm giving it this prompt because I want it to just go and do that. And then I can just talk to it and have it go and do anything else here. And I'm just reading back from there a few questions. We have Joe asking if you can export that to a PowerPoint. Yes, you can. You can export this to PowerPoint. You can export this to Google Slides so you can continue to edit inside of there. But look at that, like just purely prompting it, it made those slight color updates. I would highly encourage as you're going into Gamma and you're starting to use Agent, get more comfortable with it, and just play around with it, experiment, and see how it works in your workflow, especially if you're like me and you like to use like voice dictation for modifying things. This agent is only going to get more powerful and is only going to know and understand more of all these other Gamma tools that you can see on the side box. And so there's a lot of instructions that you can give it to modify and edit slides. Once you're done and you're ready to export, you go up to the top nav bar, click share, and then you can share the document. You can export it, right? So you can export a PDF, PowerPoint, slides, or as a PNG. You also have the option to export this directly to posting to a platform like LinkedIn right now. But if we were to go on to the next step of making this into a video, I would export these as PNGs and then upload them into like Descript to do that. And so I actually want to show how you could go about that process to get that portion of this set up. But I really want to show you guys what the contrast is compared to generating images and presentations like this inside of the regular Gamma copy and paste, which we did here, and doing that inside of Gamma Studio. And so I'm going to open up one more tab that we're going to focus in on, and I'm going to walk through that whole workflow. I'm going to go a little bit faster paced here just to be conscious of your time on this call to get the demonstration out there. and recommend just going back and watching it again. But we've already like coming into this with the assumption that you've already got your outline ready. You've already worked with, in this case, we were using, remember, Gemini as the example as a starting point to ideate and get some stuff out there. And now back in my side hustle folder, I'm going to select click new, but introducing studio mode, which is in beta. Use images to tell a story with immersive visuals and text that flow together. Cool cat with glasses. Let's go ahead and try studio mode. All right, so you can see immediately it looks a little different in studio mode. I'm limited right now with the amount of cards I can generate. So I'm limited to 20. I'm going to select 10 because that's how many we're going to be generating. I'm going to select the page default to traditional. And I'm still going to keep I'm actually going to do a little context on this because I think that there is good context from, I don't want it to just be straight up images. I want to have a little bit of context added into it. So now here's the difference in studio mode that is really important to highlight. When I go back to my Gemini thread, I'm going to give it this prompt again, the same way that I went and started to generate it inside of Gamma, the first way we tried it. So I'm going to describe what I want to make here, a little bit of context. And now when I do this, it's going to automatically go ahead and generate the outline. This is where I've been playing around with just leaving it at these outlines for the output to then also going through and like quite literally copying and pasting each individual prompt here. Because one thing I've noticed is that this outline context generates the outlines right here, but I'm still experimenting with what's the quality difference in leaving these prompts as the way they are that Gamma generates them, or like literally copying and pasting slide one, title, body text, visual, description. I'm still testing it out. And so I'm going to leave this right here just for the sake of time. But the way that you could test it alternatively is just go here and like literally copy in the exact fully detailed prompt and do that. But down here at the bottom, SideHustle 4.0 is my visual theme, and it kept the same color palette that I had done before, and it kept the same Nano Banana Pro because that's what I've been using when I'm using Studio. So let's see, like this is going to take a little bit longer and been a little bit longer, a few minutes. So we're not going to be sitting here for 30 minutes waiting for this to get generated, but this might take 30 or 45 seconds to start the initial process. Studio is much more visual heavy. Like we're going to be using, and this is something that I think, I don't know exactly what all the Gamma team has going on where they're like developing this and building on it, but the workflow to go and generate this amount of images directly inside of a Gemini chat for all of these right now, at least, would take you significantly more time to go and generate all of those. And I've been happily surprised by how well the text has been showing up and generating with the instruction with this format and flow. And once it generates, I have been able to also edit the images with the same agent mode. It just appears a little bit differently from that standpoint. But the suspense is killing me, as I'm sure it's killing all of you as we watch this. We still haven't seen an image generated yet, but let's see what Gamma tapping into Google Gemini Nano Banana Pro will be able to generate. Wow. Wow. Incredible. It's going to keep cooking. Are you kidding me? That's a sick image. I don't know. Does this look like this looks a lot better than the ones that we were trying to generate inside of Gemini earlier just on this call. And it might not be perfect, but we can always go back and edit and modify and refine. And so again, the more time you're spending on the prompts for each individual slide, you'll find a flow that's going to work best for you to get the images that you want. Maybe you don't want this much as images, but this looks pretty cool. I might want to say remove this side hustle image right here, and then I'll just add in my image post-production, like my logo to it. And so it's generating, remove the side hustle logo in the top right corner so that is not there anymore. It's because I've selected this first one, it's editing the image, right? And so like I can start to edit it. I can use Gamma Agent to help me out with navigating this. And let's see. Yeah, boom. Like now I don't have that in there anymore. Like that's fine. Like great. That's all I wanted. So boom. That looks shockingly like the Austin skyline. I'm trying to think if it's like way off. And I mean, that building is there. That building is there. It's the Austinian Frost Tower. See, I would be like, remove the side hustle game. right? The game Side Hustle Smash, play Side Hustle. I'm like, okay, keep all of this, but remove the card deck in the middle. And then like maybe we just display another version of the game. Again, I can add that in post-production. I may even want to download this and then have my Gemini actually update it because I don't know. Oh, actually, I can add images in here. Interesting. I'm glad that we have two other workshops about going deeper on Gemini here because there's so much that we can cover. But is this giving you guys some ideas for how you can use Gemini with Gamma, like where these kind of workflow together? And I think importantly, where Gamma is like plugging in and making it even easier to create really sick content from that. Connect with founders, capital. That's pretty cool. So this has me excited to maybe host an event like this at some point. This really elevates the whole vibe for what we could put on for this type of fundraiser, make it game night, high level, exclusive, tons of fun. But now if I was like, okay, this is cool, I want to send once we're gonna throw some not some wrenches in there, but we're gonna do something fun for you guys real quick. So I'm just gonna go through now the video process of this workflow because every good video needs like some super lightweight background music. So I'm pulling up my Suno account and I'm just going to say we're putting on a side hustle fundraising New Year's Eve celebration. So I want classy, vibey, upscale fundraising party music that makes you feel like you're at an upscale lounge, but is not overpowering and has like jazz vibes to it for a 60-second theme song. So I just gave it a prompt. I'm going to go ahead and click create. It's going to take a minute to create what's happening right there. But now here's how we tie everything together per the kind of like back to the beginning of our conversation with Mark asking like, what do you do to take this stuff and make an actual video out of it? So this is how I approach the process. There's lots of ways that people can create videos with this sort of stuff. This is my workflow for how I would take this and turn it into an actual like promo video. Obviously, I would spend more time on each one of these slides to make sure that they all got locked in. But what do I need? I like the second one better that it made. I like this one. I'm going to download this video. I like this one. So I'm going to download this video. I've opened up Descript. Just go to geniu.com/Descript. You can get started with Descript. And I find with Descript, it's easier to create the video over music if you upload the audio first and then create the images on top of it. So I'm going to jump back in here. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear this. All right, cool. So we got one version right there. Nope, we're going to go with number 2. You could generate a bunch of these inside of Suno and pick whatever one matches the vibe you're looking for. Why am I not allowed to download this? What's going on? Is it still generating? It might still be generating, that's why.
Yeah, it's not done yet.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Which is weird because normally when it's created, it's ready to go. Hopefully we're not going to run into any technical issues here. Let me see. Come on, Suno, help me out. So while that's happening, I'm going to go jump back in. Oh, looks like it did it. Perfect. MP3 audio is being downloaded. So now what I'm going to do is side hustle for a cause. Hustle for a cause. I'm going to give the music. It's adding the file. So now I have a 3-minute music track that I can overlay other content to. You can hear it. So now that I have the music, there's a couple other things I want to add to my project that I know I'm going to be using. One of them is, or two of them are the intro and then the video that I asked it to generate. And then the last thing I want is what we just spent the time in Gamma doing was the actual slides, right? So while each of these slides isn't animated yet, we could take individually all of these images and we could run them back through Gemini and generate images like video based on the images. So if I share this and I export as a PNG, it's going to export, it should export them all together. It's a little bit of a bigger file. Don't fail me now. That's exporting. So I'm going to start with one of these images. And this is like a crash course in getting a Descript video made. Like you upload your stuff to projects, you upload the audio file on the bottom, you add this as a new layer so that it filters in on top. And then you add in sequence what videos you want. You can edit the level of the sound in the video if you want to make it less overpowering, if that is the case. So
Happy New Year, everyone. Cheers.
Cool. So we just got, I'm probably going to shorten that a little bit so it's inside of 5 seconds. But now we've got our zip file that we can open up all of our different images. So we have all these images. I'm just going to drag them into my project. Oh, let's extract them first. All right, cool. Images. I'm just going to drag them into our file. While that's happening, let me do this. VO3, start a new chat. Look at that. I've reached my video generation limit till December 3. Look at that. We've already out generated all of our video stuff. Google wants me to pay them more money to use all their video tools, which we'll wait till tomorrow to jump back into that. I was just going to see how it took an image and ran it, but you can test that out on your own time. What we see in here in the last couple minutes of this presentation and workshop today, we've got image 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So now you can drag all of these images into the project. 3, 4, 5, thrilling stuff, I know. But it helps with if you're generating just a ton of images, but they're not following like a storyboard or like a theme or like any sort of like guardrail, you could end up spending a lot more time than ideal, just like trying to figure out what image you want to go in what order. And so this kind of circles back to what's the sequence that we want these images to appear in, generating in that order inside of Gamma. And then we can create a full image thing on that front. Happy New Year's for a cause, hustle for a cause. Like 1. Yeah, and this only needs to be like 3 seconds. Cool. Happy New Year, everybody. And then I might just tighten all these up. 9, 10. So we're just over a minute. I could easily just condense all of those images to go down just a little bit more. But look what we've created here in this hour using Gemini, creating outlines, running it through Gamma, using Nano Banana Pro to generate the images, Suno to generate the music vibe, and VO3, of course, for the initial videos. Here we go.
Happy New Year, everyone. Cheers.
A quick question, Darby.
Yeah.
Did you say that you actually generated better pictures inside Gamma using Nano Banana than doing it that?
I don't know if the Gemini Nano Banana is doing the same level of image generation that Nano Banana Pro is, because there's Flash and then there's Pro. But I do know that with this, oh yeah, we ran out of requests there. Like you saw, like generating a few images in. Where is this going? Is there a workshop? Oh, there it is. Like, it wasn't really following the request very well, like for just generating images, and it was going all over the place a little bit. And I've just found that going through Gamma to use Nano Banana Pro was able to generate this like cohesively, like following that style guide in one shot.
So there must be something behind the scenes happening.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Mark, you just joined back in at the tail end of it. We were showcasing using Descript to tie all these together. We created a theme song for our event for our New Year's Eve smash. And
I just went and signed up for Descript, so I'll play with it.
yeah.
Thank
Darby,
you.
can you record your voice over that if you wanted to say something in your voice with the music and the
Yeah.
images?
So you should be able to, if I do audio only. Welcome everybody to the Side Hustle Smash charity for a cause. We're hustling, we're bustling, we're smashing glass, we're raising cash to help entrepreneurs all around the world. Join today. Tickets are only $25,000 a head, and that money goes directly into the pockets of entrepreneurs with big ideas, but limited funding and resources to get them into the world. I wasn't even recording that. Welcome everybody to the Side Hustle Smash Entrepreneur Charity Ball, where we're going to be raising funds, raising cash, toasting our glasses to support entrepreneurs all over the world, turning their big ideas to bring them to life. And so I just created a voiceover now, which
Are you sharing?
Oh, I'm not, but see, that would help to show what was happening there. But yeah, you can record directly inside of Descript. What I did was I selected record, audio recording, and then I recorded it, and now it's inserting it into the script. And so one thing I like about Descript when it comes to this level of recording is on the right-hand side, when you go to AI tools, you can go to Studio Sound. So sometimes I'll just use my phone to record something and upload that audio file and then run it through the Studio Sound. And that will make a regular phone recording, which isn't bad, but isn't the best, and make it sound like I'm talking into a microphone like this. And I don't know, it's transcribing it. You can see, so it added this down here. So what I would need to do is I would need to go back through and edit this as a different layer to have it like stack on top of it. We're going to get a little bit too far away from the Gamma and Gemini side if we start doing into a Descript class right now, and we're out of time for today. But Descript is a pretty solid tool for getting your video editing done and editing it like a Google document. Being able to take the videos from Gemini or VO or whatever tool, using Gamma slides, tying them all together, putting music in, and it brings it all together in one piece that way. I do have a few more minutes until I have to jump. If we have any kind of questions or anything along those lines, Mark, I see you.
Do you have an affiliate link for Descript?
I think if you go to geniu.com
Okay.
/Descript, you should go through our affiliate link, which they have a Black Friday deal going on right now. What did it say? Descript Black Friday deal. I don't know how long that Black Friday deal is going on for, but
Where would it be in Gen AI University community?
I don't think I have the link there. I'll post it under this video.
Okay.
Here you go. Just go through that link and that should apply our affiliate link. Yeah, you get expires yesterday, so they need to update that. So the Black Friday deal is apparently no longer going on. I don't really run into issues with the amount of credits that I use personally for videos and generating on their main plan, which I'm on their creator plan, so it's 35 a month or something like that, 35 a month. And then again, with the stuff with Gamma today, if you're on their pro plan, I think it's like 20 something bucks a month. You may have access to the studio inside of Gamma as well. And then I don't know what I need to upgrade to get more VO3 access inside of Google for VO3 specifically, but I've just been using Gemini with my Google Workspace. And one workaround I've found for using VO3, there's like aggregator tools that you may have seen that do video generation. I've used a handful of them. The one I used most recently that I was very happy with the outputs was generating videos with VO3 via GenSpark, which is like a super agent that gives you access to a ton of different tools, similar to Manus. If you guys have heard anything about Manus, GenSpark is another super powerful video generator. Not just a video generator, but like it can do a lot of agentic stuff in your workflow. But you can also access like VO3 and other video models through GenSpark. And so
Okay.
a way to get a workaround
Okay.
for some of these tools.
The Wisp Flow, what is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wisp Flow. Do you have an affiliate link for that one as well?
I don't. I should get one.
Yeah, you should get one.
Let me see. I don't even know if they have an affiliate program. Become an affiliate.
Okay, I'll for that. And then maybe you can email me the link.
Yeah. I will drop that affiliate link below this video and inside of the community when I post this too. Hopefully me saying that tells my Claude recipe buddy to add this into the breakdown once we put this up inside of our community. Programs are covers that. Okay, cool. Team Enterprise. Okay, that's cool. Got it. Apply. Okay, I'll go ahead and apply to that affiliate program and share that link with you guys, see if we can get you any extra deals on that front. How did you guys find today's workshop, those that are still here with us live? And if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know too. But did you find that useful, helpful, watching that workflow, seeing those tools work together, Gemini and Gamma?
Very much. It's very helpful.
Cool. Glad to hear that. Was there any insights or anything specifically that you found most helpful? Thanks, Mohammed. Learned a lot.
I
That's
didn't
great.
know that I can use all these inside Gemini. I was always logging. I have the studio, but I log to each one separate. So this way, I don't know, it's so simple, but it seems that I miss the basic things. I didn't know I can use Gemini this way. So thank you.
Yeah, glad to hear that. And like some of the stuff I'm still learning about Gemini too. And we haven't even gone into gems, which my understanding is those are like building custom GPTs, but just inside of Gemini. And so maybe that'll be a topic for next week or one of these workshops here. But of course, make sure you guys are part of our school community. If you're not already, geniu.com/school, SKOOL, to be on the inside track for these live workshops and give your input for what you want to see next. If there's anything else in the last few minutes, I'm happy to stay on, but don't need to hold you guys hostage here. I've got plenty of stuff on your plate going on in the real world. Appreciate you guys for tuning in with us live and
always great. Thank
YouTube.
You, Darby.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sasan, and everyone here. See you guys inside the community and inside the next workshop. Until next time, keep calm and AI on. See you on the other side. Cheers, y'all.
See you. Bye-bye.